Okay, so you're prepping for an early years teacher interview, feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the possible questions.
Totally. Understandable. There's a lot riding on these interviews, but don't worry. We're diving into RoleCatcher's guides to help you nail it. We've got their insights on the early years teacher career, common interview questions, and how their AI can help you tailor those answers. Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to interview success.
Love it. So before we tackle those questions, let's paint a picture of what this role actually entails. It's not just about playtime.
Right. It's about so much more than that. Think fostering both social and intellectual skills through play-based learning. That's a big trend in the field right now. Designing engaging lessons for those little 3 to 5 year olds on things like numbers, letters, colors. That's where the real magic happens. And RoleCatcher really emphasizes this play-based approach throughout their guide.
Got it. So you're not just watching kids, you're designing their learning experiences. Now, what about the work environment itself? The guide mentions it can be pretty demanding.
Definitely. Expect a lively classroom filled with energy, noise, constant movement, and lots of interaction. It's not just about managing the kids either. You'll be engaging with parents, school staff, a whole ecosystem. So when you're answering those interview questions, paint a picture of yourself thriving in that environment. Show them you're not just prepared for the challenge, but excited about it.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks, those tricky interview questions. RoleCatcher has 9 sample questions. We're going to break them down one by one, giving you the insider tips on how to approach each one. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
All right, question number 1. Can you tell us about your experience working with children under 5? It seems straightforward, but what are they really looking for here?
They're looking for specifics. Don't just say I love kids. Everyone
Okay.
says that. They want to hear about the age ranges you've worked with, the specific responsibilities you had, and any standout moments that show your genuine passion and skills.
So, for example, if you helped a shy child come out of their shell or created a game that got the whole class excited about learning their ABCs, those are the stories they want to hear.
Exactly. Those anecdotes bring your experience to life and make you memorable. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Think about potential follow-up questions they might ask based on your answer. For instance, they might say, "What was your biggest challenge working with that age group?"
Ooh, good one. You need to show you can handle the tough stuff,
Yeah.
but also how you learn and grow from those experiences.
Right. Maybe you had a child who struggled with separation anxiety or a time when two kids just couldn't get along. How did you handle those situations? What did you learn? This is where you showcase your problem-solving skills and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Makes sense. Okay, question number 2. How do you ensure that your teaching meets the individual needs of each child? This is where that play-based learning we talked about comes into play, right?
Absolutely. The interviewer wants to see that you understand that every child is unique and learns differently. So talk about how you observe each child's abilities and interests, how you plan diverse activities, and how you adapt your teaching on the fly. This is where you can really shine as an educator.
So, for example, you might say you create learning centers with different activities to cater to different learning styles, or how you use games and interactive activities to make learning fun and engaging for everyone.
Exactly. And you can even mention specific tools or techniques you use to track each child's progress. This shows you're organized and committed to meeting each child's individual needs. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you tailor your answers to highlight these skills based on the specific job description.
That's amazing. So it's like having a personalized coach, helping you craft the perfect response for each question.
Precisely. Now, back to the questions. How about this one? How do you create a positive learning environment? It's more than just cute decorations, right?
Right. It's about fostering a sense of community where every child feels safe, respected, and valued.
Exactly. Think about the emotional atmosphere you create. Talk about how you foster positive relationships, build confidence in your students, and encourage their independence. Remember, the guide specifically mentions early literacy as a key focus, so definitely work that into your answer.
So mentioning things like creating a print-rich environment with lots of books, labels, and opportunities for children to see and interact with words.
That's a great example. And again, think about those potential follow-up questions. They might ask you to elaborate on a specific technique you use to promote literacy, or ask for an example of how you create a welcoming and inclusive classroom culture. Be prepared to go deeper.
All right. Question number 4.
Mm.
How do you involve parents and families in their child's learning? This seems like a crucial one, especially in those early years.
Absolutely. You're not just teaching the child, you're building a partnership with the family. So talk about how you communicate with parents, how you provide opportunities for them to be involved in their child's learning, and how you respect their cultural and linguistic diversity.
So it's about open and regular communication, maybe through newsletters, parent-teacher meetings, or even a dedicated messaging app, and creating opportunities for parents to participate in classroom activities or special events.
Right. And you can mention specific examples of how you've successfully involved parents in the past, maybe by inviting them to share their cultural traditions or help with a class project. This demonstrates your commitment to family engagement.
Love it. This is already so helpful. Okay, on to question number 5. How do you assess children's learning and development? This feels like a potentially tricky one.
It can be, but it's all about showcasing your understanding of different assessment methods and how you use them to inform your teaching.
So we're not just talking about formal tests, right?
Yeah, definitely not. Think about observation, documentation of children's work and play, and in both formative and summative assessments. Explain how you use these different methods to get a holistic picture of each child's progress.
So for example, you might mention how you keep anecdotal records of children's play, use photographs and videos to document their learning journeys, or create simple checklists to track their development in specific areas.
Exactly. And then you can link those assessments back to how you plan for individual needs. Maybe you noticed a child struggling with fine motor skills, so you introduced more activities involving Play-Doh or building blocks. Show them you're using assessment to drive your teaching decisions.
This is great. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty of what makes a great early years teacher. Okay, let's tackle question 6. How do you support children with additional needs or disabilities in your care? This feels like a really important one.
It is. The interviewer wants to see that you're committed to inclusive practices and understand how to create a supportive learning environment for all children.
So it's about highlighting your experience working with children with diverse needs and showcasing your ability to adapt your teaching methods and create individualized learning plans.
Absolutely. Talk about how you collaborate with parents, specialists, and other professionals to create a supportive network for the child. And be prepared to give specific examples of how you've differentiated instruction or adapted activities to meet individual needs.
For example, maybe you used visual aids for a child with auditory processing difficulties or created a sensory corner for a child with autism.
Perfect. And remember, you can also talk about your commitment to creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom where every child feels valued and respected.
Great point. Okay, on to question number 7. How do you ensure that your teaching is inclusive and culturally responsive? I feel like this is becoming increasingly important in today's diverse world.
It absolutely is. Schools are becoming more diverse, and it's crucial for teachers to create learning environments that reflect and celebrate that diversity.
So how can you demonstrate this in an interview?
Talk about how you incorporate diverse perspectives into your curriculum, how you use materials that reflect the cultural backgrounds of your students, and how you create opportunities for children to learn about and appreciate different cultures.
So really you use books and stories from different cultures, celebrate a variety of holidays and traditions, or invite families to share their cultural experiences with the class.
Exactly. And you can also talk about how you address issues of bias and prejudice in the classroom, creating a safe and welcoming space for all children.
I love that. Okay, question 8. How do you promote positive behavior in young children? I'm guessing this is where classroom management skills come into play.
It definitely is. They want to see that you can create a structured and predictable environment, set clear expectations, and use positive reinforcement to encourage good behavior.
So talking about things like establishing clear rules and routines, using positive language and praise, and providing opportunities for children to make choices and take ownership of their behavior.
Yes, and you can also mention specific techniques you use, like redirecting negative behavior, providing logical consequences, and working with parents to create a consistent approach.
This is so helpful. Okay, on to the final question. Can you tell us about a time when you had to adapt your teaching to meet the needs of a specific child? This feels like a great opportunity to showcase your flexibility and problem-solving skills.
It absolutely is. They want to see that you can think on your feet, be creative, and find solutions that work for individual children.
So what kind of examples should you give?
Choose a specific situation where you identified a child's unique need and explain the steps you took to adapt your teaching. Be detailed about the strategies you used, the challenges you faced, and the outcome of your intervention.
For example, You could talk about a time when you had a child who was struggling with a particular concept. Maybe you created a hands-on activity, used visual aids, or paired the child with a peer tutor.
Exactly. And don't forget to highlight how your adaptations led to a positive outcome for the child. Now remember, RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer here. You can practice your answer, record yourself, and get AI feedback on how to make it even better.
That's incredible. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
It really is, and that's just scratching the surface of what RoleCatcher's AI can do. We'll dive deeper into those features a bit later. But for now, let's shift gears and talk about the bigger picture, your potential career path in this field.
Perfect. Because nailing the interview
Yeah.
is just the first step, right? You want to know where this role could take you in the long run.
Exactly. Nailing that interview is just the beginning. It's about building a fulfilling career in early years education. And RoleCatcher's Guide actually provides some pretty good insights into potential career paths.
Okay, so let's talk career trajectories. Where could this early years teacher role lead you?
Well, the guide highlights several possibilities. You could progress from an early years teacher to a senior early years teacher, taking on more responsibilities and leadership roles within the classroom.
That makes sense. And from there?
From there, you could even move into management positions like an early years coordinator, overseeing a team of teachers and shaping the curriculum for the entire early years program.
So there's definitely room for growth if you're ambitious and eager to take on new challenges. What are some things you could do to show the interviewer you're in it for the long haul?
Demonstrate your commitment to continuous learning. Mention specific certifications like the Early Years Teacher Status, or EYTS, or the Child Development Associate Credential, known as the CDA. These show you're serious about professional development and staying up to date on the latest research and best practices.
Right. It's all about showing them you're not just looking for a job, you're looking to build a career in early years education.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to express your long-term goals. Maybe you're interested in specializing in a particular area, like special needs education or bilingual education. Or perhaps you see yourself leading a team of teachers someday. Sharing those aspirations shows you're driven and have a clear vision for your future.
I love that. So we've talked about the role, the work environment, those tricky interview questions, and even potential career paths. But let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI for a minute. You mentioned it can help tailor your answers and provide feedback. Can you give us a little more detail on how that works?
Absolutely. It's actually pretty amazing. Imagine having an AI co-pilot for your entire interview prep. RoleCatcher can help you tailor your CV and cover letter to specific job descriptions, which is a huge time saver. And then there's the interview practice feature.
Okay, tell me more about that interview practice. What's so special about it?
Well, you can actually practice your answers to these very questions we've been discussing. Record yourself and get AI feedback on how to improve. It analyzes things like your tone of voice, your body language, and even the content of your answers, giving you personalized tips to come across as more confident, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a personal interview coach, but without the hefty price tag. So you could practice your answer to that question about creating a positive learning environment, and the AI would tell you if you sounded convincing enough.
Exactly. It can pick up on those subtle cues that we might miss on our own. Maybe you're using filler words too much, or your tone sounds a bit hesitant. The AI will flag those areas and give you concrete suggestions on how to improve.
That's a game changer, especially for someone who gets nervous during interviews.
Yeah.
Knowing you have that AI support can boost your confidence and help you perform at your best.
Absolutely. And that's not all. RoleCatcher also has this amazing feature where you can upload your practice videos and get feedback on your overall presentation. It's like having a virtual mock interview, but with the added benefit of AI analysis.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Your body language, your facial expressions, all of that plays a role.
Exactly. And the AI can provide insights into those nonverbal cues, helping you refine your presentation and make a lasting impression on the interviewer.
This is all so incredibly helpful. I feel like we've covered so much ground. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that the RoleCatcher Guide emphasizes. The emotional demands of this job.
That's a crucial point. It's not always sunshine and rainbows working with young children. It can be demanding, energetic, and sometimes challenging. They might test your patience, push your boundaries, and leave you feeling completely drained some days.
So how can you address this aspect in the interview?
Be prepared to talk about how you manage stress. Stay energized and maintain a positive attitude even on the toughest days. Maybe you have a a go-to relaxation technique, a supportive network of friends and family, or a personal mantra that helps you stay centered.
Right, because they want to see that you have the resilience and the passion to thrive in this environment, not just survive it.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between being nurturing and setting boundaries, between being playful and maintaining authority. It's a delicate dance, but it's what makes early years teaching so rewarding.
I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today, from specific interview questions to AI-powered prep tools and even insights into the emotional demands of the job. But I want to leave them with one final thought, something to really ponder as they prepare for their interviews.
I love that idea. What's on your mind?
Well, we've talked about qualifications, experience, and all the practical stuff. But I think the most important quality of a great early years teacher is something that can't be taught or measured. It's that intangible spark, that genuine love and connection with young children.
You're so right. It's that passion that makes all the difference. It's what shines through in your interactions with the children and the way you plan your lessons and in the energy you bring to the classroom.
Exactly. So to our listener, as you prepare for your interview, remember this. Yes, showcase your skills and experience. Yes, use every tool at your disposal, including those amazing AI features from RoleCatcher. But most importantly, let your passion shine through. Let the interviewer see the joy you find in nurturing young minds and shaping future generations. That's what will truly make you stand out.
Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more. And remember, this interview is also a chance for you to assess if the school is the right fit for you.
It's a two-way street. You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions about their approach to early childhood education, their professional development opportunities, their commitment to creating a supportive work environment for their teachers. Those are all important factors to consider.
It's about finding the right fit, a place where your passion can flourish, and where you feel valued and supported as an educator.
And remember, that passion is what will ultimately make you a successful early years teacher. It's that intangible quality that draws children to you, that inspires their curiosity and makes learning an adventure.
It's like a superpower, the ability to connect with young children on their level, to see the world through their eyes, and to nurture their love for learning.
And it's something that interviewers can sense even through a screen. So as you prepare for your interview, think about those moments that light you up. What bring you joy in working with young children?
Maybe it's seeing that spark of understanding when a child grasps a new concept, or witnessing a moment of pure creativity during playtime. Or maybe it's simply sharing a laugh with a group of giggling preschoolers.
Hold on to those moments. Let them fuel your passion and remind you why you chose this path. Because when you're genuinely excited about the work you do, it shows, and that's what will make you an unforgettable candidate.
So true. So to our listener, as you head into that interview, remember this. Be confident, be prepared, and most importantly, be yourself. Let your passion shine through, and don't be afraid to ask questions to make sure it's the right fit for you.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you on this topic.
Likewise. And to our listener, we wish you the best of luck on your interview journey. Go out there and shine.